I am a member of the National Association of Secretaries of State, or NAS, and we as secretaries and members of that organization have an opportunity to give 5 Medallion awards in our state, and there's certain criteria that have to be met, but we can choose to give them for any kind of community service or community connection, like doing something voter outreach, maybe education, that type of thing. And so what I have chosen to do this year, as in past years, is choose 5 corporations here in Washington State that give back to their communities and really set an example for how we can make our Some of the good works that they're doing include pro bono and reduced rate financial services for those in need. In 2016, $973,134 in charitable donations to over 100 organizations for the lifetime of the were given. Over the lifetime of the company, from 2007 to 2016, $4 million has been contributed. Employees participate as paid or unpaid volunteers, and in 2017, Seattle Business Magazine Community Impact awarded them Company of the Year status. So, congratulations. So,
thank
you. And again, just to go ahead and read the commendation here. This 2017 Corporations for Communities Award is presented to CFO Selections, LLC. This statewide honor is bestowed by the Division of Corporations and Charities, recognizing your contribution to Washington communities. Your company has been selected to receive the National Association of Secretaries of State Medallion Award for your outstanding service and corporate spirit of giving back. So congratulations, I got you, and thank you.
Put you in the middle for the picture?
Yes, yeah, that probably makes sense.
Yeah, take out.
Now I just look at it. Okay.
You can't help me.
No, I can't help you.
No, don't, please don't.
It's good.
There we go.
Yes, please. Thank you. So I have some prepared remarks, but to start, in deference to the folks at Brighton Jones and at Seattle Works, I have the best job. My name's Tom Varga. I'm the founder of CFO Selections, and we provide consulting services and executive search in the finance and accounting realm for both nonprofits and for-profits around the Pacific Northwest. It's truly my privilege to be here to accept this award on behalf of my team, our clients, our grantees. Thank you to Secretary Wyman and Mr. Reed for having us here. You and your teams, I know, did a lot of work to go through all these applications and everything, so we appreciate that. In accepting this award on behalf of my partners and our team of associates, but mostly on behalf of the nonprofit investees that we partner with. You'll hear from one of them today. Mimi Siegel is here today to talk about her organization that we've been working with for a number of years. They're the ones that really do the heavy lifting. That's where sort of the rubber meets the road, and the services are provided, people are helped, injustices are corrected, and those are the folks that really should be up here getting awards, because they're doing the heavy work. So we support organizations like Bridge Meadows, who build permanent housing for both foster youth and adoptive parents. Organizations like Team Child, they're advocates in the court systems for our youth. They're against the idea of incarcerating our youth as a way of dealing with issues that they have. And then you'll hear from Mimi Siegel, who is the executive director of Kindering in Bellevue, in a moment. You know, our backgrounds for the folks in my company, we're accountants, we're numbers folks, we're finance folks, and we're always looking for leverage points for our clients in order to get a return on their investments. And we take that philosophy and apply it to our philanthropy in the same way. We look for opportunities not only to provide funding, but also to provide time and talent. We call it time, talent, and treasure, because the leverage point is really getting smart people to dedicate their talents to these organizations to leverage the funds that they have. It's the combination of both the time, the talent, and the treasure that makes it very powerful and meaningful. But it's the effort itself that proves to be most helpful. The effort and the commitment of people like you in this room. Some of you may have heard of a gentleman by the name of Howard Schultz here at Starbucks. He's got a great way, I'm going to steal this from him. I told him I was going to do this. He has a great way of describing folks like all of you in this room. He calls them upstanders. And you may be wondering, what is an upstander? Upstanders are ordinary people performing extraordinary services in the communities and the neighborhoods that they live in. They're your colleagues, they're your friends, they're your family, they're your neighbors. These are the folks that see a need in the community, an injustice, and they stand up and they do something about it. That's what an upstander is. Before I ask Mimi to say a few words, I have a request, maybe even call it a challenge for all of you in this room. A challenge that everybody at my company, CFO Selections, has accepted. A challenge that demonstrates the kind of America, the kind of state, cities, neighborhoods, and communities that we want to build and live in. And that challenge is to take what all of you have already learned in terms of how to get involved in the community, how to do good philanthropy, and teach that to the others around you. Get a hold of your fellow CEOs, your fellow service providers, people in your neighborhood, people from your churches, your communities, your schools. Show them how it's done. I bet if you just ask them, they'll say yes. So it's you that are the time and the talent in this room. You are all the leverage points. And I think Howard would say you are all upstanders. So thank you.
I wanted to speak for a moment about the impact of CFO Selections Foundation and their entire scope of giving. And when you challenged us all to teach others, one of the very first things is that CFO Selections has become a model for corporate philanthropy. And there are, for example, folks on our board, on Kindering Center's board of directors who have said, oh, that's a really good model for how my corporation could do it. I'm gonna copy that. So thank you for spreading your knowledge and your instincts about that. Kindering Center is a neurodevelopmental center. We help infants and children with disabilities or other special needs. We have particular projects for kiddos in foster care, families who are homeless, but our flagship program has really always been for children with marked disabilities and other delays. We serve about 4,000 children a year. And CFO Selections first stepped in to help us by offering us a multi-year grant. And there's nothing better than that because you know where your funding is coming from for 3 years in a row. Secondly, Kevin still teases me because I called him one day and I said, okay, I give up. We were really struggling with how to fill an accounting position. And they have an entire not-for-profit wing that, as they mentioned on their slide, it's not a sliding scale, but he helps with the compensation of it. So that's been just terrific, real extraordinary talent. Last, Kindred Center was, we had a shift in treasurers of our board of directors. And so they immediately had one of their partners who stepped in and has been a most competent treasurer of our board of directors for 3 or 4 years now, really a find. And lastly, if you talk about walking the talk, we were opening a satellite in Renton, and we had to start a capital campaign to do so. And Tom came to me with his own idea, and of course CFO Selections Foundation was the first funder for this project. And he said, I will walk Washington State Pacific Coast Trail for a month to raise money for your organization if you can help me rally folks around. So they literally walked their talk and have provided, as he said, time, treasure, and talent. Thank you.